Hey everyone, I'm Joey Barone with the Joey Barone Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Barone, obviously. So I've done a lot of filmmaking and such. That's kind of started after I graduated high school. I've done a lot of films and a lot of projects, and I kind of wanted to take a step back from those more serious projects and kind of start a project that was more like relaxed and laid back, just more so conversational pieces. And that's kind of the whole point of this podcast is I kind of just wanted to delve into something new. And, I appreciate you guys kind of chiming in and watching, hit the subscribe button, like this, and you'll find over time, you'll just having random conversations, even with my friends and other people and stuff that I think it'll be very informative on your end. Maybe learn some new things along the way. And, I think you're gonna enjoy this. And without further ado, I have my first guest on the show, my all-time best friend, Matt Amoia. Thank you for being here, buddy. I appreciate you being my first guest here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome. So, how long have we known each other? Like our fathers knew each other. So then we going back, we've known each other for, what would you say, at least 15, 16, 17 years?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you really want to get really technical, I mean, we knew each other since we were like 2 years old.
So we originally played ice hockey here in Buffalo together.
Yeah, I mean, we were on, I think, 2 or 3 different teams,
I remember there was this one because you used to play goalie really well. For some reason, you just, instead of being a regular player, you want to be goalie.
You want to hear the story to that?
Yeah, tell me the story.
Well, I used to be player. I was player for like a year or so. It's
like in Little League
or whatever. I think it was center or left wing or right wing or whatever. And I don't know. Our goalie was fucked up. He never showed up. He never wanted to play. And then the coach came to us the one day and he's like, "Yeah, we don't have a goalie. Somebody's got to step up."
And wasn't he like asking you for a while? Like, do you want to do this, Matt? Do you want to do it?
A couple weeks. And finally I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I'll do it. Fuck it,
And then, I always, Ryan Miller for the Buffalo Sabres, I always compared you to Ryan Miller. You had...
Kind of look like him a little bit.
Yeah, now, yeah. But you kind of always have kind of gave me off that vibe. And I remember there was this one time, you remember the time when I scored a goal against the opposite team. And, how everybody's supposed to... You score the goal and then everyone, fist bumps all their...
Yeah, you go to the bench there.
Yeah. I remember there was a one time where I scored the goal and everyone's going to fist bump. I'm skating all the way down the other end of the ice.
Just fist bump me.
Just to fist bump you. If you come out of the crease and I fist bump you, I got to hurry up because,
everybody's yelling at you. Come on, let's go. The face off.
So, really good childhood memories, dude. What's kind of one of the more memories of us kind of growing up that kind of really sticks with you, you think?
Oh, jeez. I think it's got to be, I don't even know how old we were. I think we were 11 or 12 or something. And your dad came over to our house, brought you and your brother Dan, and just hanging out, And I'll never forget it, actually. Just a vivid memory I have. You two recreated a whole WWE wrestling match in my house.
You had the dog cage in the basement.
Yeah.
And my brother ended up locking me.
Yeah.
In the dog cage.
And I'm pretty sure you were slamming his head on the top of the dog cage.
Here we are, 11. I think one of the best memories I have is I think we were even going farther back. We were 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. I forget exactly how old, but we're sitting there in your garage that you kind of had the hang area and your television's on, and we're watching 2007's Rob Zombie Halloween.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, brutal movie.
Brutal.
Absolutely brutal.
Especially for a 7, 8-year-old.
So here we are watching this, and Michael Myers is slicing and dicing everybody up. and bashing heads in and all that shit. And here we are, and I know your father had those little friendlies Sundays with the little Reese's Pieces on top.
The Reese Cup Sunday.
Yeah,
thing, yeah.
Friendlies brand. And I remember you had one in the freezer in the garage. I'm sitting there, I'm eating it, and I had like 4 or 5 of them. Before I left, your father's like, "What happened with all these?"
Yeah, they were all gone. He's like, "I'm gonna have to go to the store and get some more."
So to kind of veer off into another topic, me and you, like me being a filmmaker, I kind of, when you have a best friend that's a filmmaker such as myself, and you're my best friend, I feel like it was bound to pop up that I was going to be like, "Do you want to help me with the project?" And you've kind of been more reserved, the quiet, shyer type in the beginning of our friendship, but you've kind of now excelled at,
Yeah, all this kind of stuff, Well, you came to me first, and I'm like, "A movie? I don't know if I could act, But
I've got you out of your comfort zone. We've had a lot of good memories, a lot of good films.
Yeah.
Our first film we did together was kind of like a mediocre little film.
We were testing the waters.
Yeah, but then I created that film, The Hired Hitman.
Yeah. Classic.
Classic. And independent project. I think I shot it for like $1,200, and we filmed at a couple local restaurants here in Buffalo. And it was like a mafia picture, and you play like a mob boss. And that was a really great film and a really great experience to do that. And then, because we've made like 3 different films in the last like 3.5 years, and then most recently, a year and a half ago, we created Goodman 1, which was also another action flick, very physical. I'm putting you through hell. We're it's like 12
all the fight scenes,
Yeah, really a lot of choreographed fight scenes.
Yeah.
But you kind of stuck through it, and you're like, "It's past my fucking bedtime, Joe. How many times do you want me to do this shot here?" But
it's a lot. It's tedious, but I definitely have appreciation for the whole process of filmmaking now. So, and I guess I'm getting pretty good at this acting thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was kind of nervous to start this episode because, like we always see on television, like football players and hockey players when they're getting interviewed in locker room or something like that, or they're doing the press conferences after the game.
Right.
A lot of the players, they get nervous, so they're like because they're on the spot, right?
Yeah. Well, they're not trained in public speaking. All they know how to do is throw the ball or shoot the ball in.
Yeah. So I was kind of nervous because a lot of people say all the time.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing right now. No. You got. They're like, what did you say earlier about like them doing the thing? Like,
yeah. Well, playing hockey, used to watch hockey too.
Mm-hmm.
Used to listen to them in their interviews, and they're saying stuff like, "Yeah, you got to get the puck deep and get some couple guys in there for checking, and
So, you graduated college. How many years of college did you do?
Oh boy, 7 years. Holy. Think that's enough?
What did you major in?
My bachelor's is in conservation biology, and then my master's is in ecology. I knew it was bound to happen, Smoking these e-cig, coughing. I'm getting too old for this shit,
So.
Like I used to smoke those in high school, The Smooths. You ever heard of the Smooths?
No, what are those?
Like one of the original ones.
No.
Yeah, they actually looked like a cigarette, They're like this. You hit the button in the middle, little thing lights up, But yeah, 7 years.
Did you want to get your doctorate?
I did at one point.
How many years do you need to do to get your doctorate?
5 or 6 years at least. Yeah. It's a long time. It's a long time. But, you know, there we are, making podcasts and films for now, you know.
There I go with the thing again. No.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, you're a smart motherfucker, dude. Like, I feel like, you know, I always get advice on you and shit because you know, you do a lot of the ecology and scientific shit. So, you know, I could ask you, like, how are rocks formed? Or, like, hey, do you know about, like, praying mantises and I mean, like, all that shit? And you always got those type of answers. You know, it's crazy how smart you are.
I'm always trying to learn, you know. I'm always reading about stuff, and I'm always interested in stuff. So
Yeah, like reading about how your best friend annoys you.
yeah.
What did you read about that?
Well, you know, I try to figure out, you know, how to how to make it stop without killing them. No. But no, you know.
So I know you went to college and shit, but like I'm sure you had a lot of fun times in college. Can you kind of like dabble into a little bit, like some of those fun experiences? Any like funny stories you can kind of give? The typical party stories in college?
Oh yeah, there's always that crazy stuff. I think the most iconic one is I didn't even expect. It's like something out of a movie.
Man. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Sure.
For Halloween, there's this. Well, I went to college in Syracuse for my bachelor's.
Right.
And there's this whole street. It's this long ass street where, you know, every freaking house is basically college students.
Mm-hmm.
And for Halloween, it was just a whole street party.
The whole street?
The whole street. Every door in the house is propped open, the front door, and we're just walking from house to house. And there's people. The streets may as well be blocked off. Cars can't come through the street.
Where were the cops at this point?
They couldn't even.
Probably joined into the other parties.
Yeah. Yeah, there's people. So many people crossing the street and everything. There's thousands of kids. It was insane. I thought it was on like, you know, that what's that movie, like Project X or something?
Yeah.
It was insane.
And then I think you told me the story before, but didn't you like have to take a midterm the very next day, and here you are, it's like 6 in the morning to 7 in the morning, you didn't even go to bed.
Yeah, the next week. It was I think it was a Saturday.
Yeah.
At the Halloween, you know, the Halloween weekend, but I think that Monday or Tuesday I had you know, a bunch of us had tests.
Didn't you go into one of the basements of the house and like there's like that techno music playing and shit? There was styrofoam or
we were standing. We went through a couple houses and then we were standing in the driveway of this one house, you know. And then all of a sudden I'm starting to look around and I see this basement door. You know those basement doors in some of those houses where, you know, it's outside and it
like the old days where you have the latches.
Well, no, it was a regular door, but it was stairs that went down to the basement.
Really?
Yeah, in the back of the house. So that door was propped right open too. And I see these strobe lights, you know, like,
yeah.
And you know, I'm looking and then I start walking. As I get closer, I hear, you know, I'm like, hey, what's going on down here, you know?
Yeah.
So I go down there. The strobe lights are getting all crazy. You can hear the way louder, you know?
Yeah.
And then I get down there and on the ground, it's a huge foam party. There's that white foam everywhere. Everybody's rolling around.
Like bubbles and shit or just foam?
Yeah, like that white foam stuff, yeah. And it was insane.
Like what pool noodles are made of?
Yeah, that was
what were you for that party?
I was Jesus.
Because that was when you had your long hair.
Yeah, way down past my shoulders.
Were you wearing like a cross and shit too?
Yeah, a cross. I had a wooden stick. I had sandals on.
A white robe?
A white robe, and I had this, you know, this cross necklace on.
How would you say college was for you, for example, like an overall experience?
It's a pretty good experience, you know. I mean, you get to experience a lot, you know, academic wise and socially wise. It's.
Were you like really good at math?
I was pretty decent at it. Yeah, math and science were always an interest to me, and where I excelled.
You know how like when you start high school, I believe what is it? It's algebra. I think it is.
The way
is that the first math you take when you?
Pretty much, yeah.
I remember it took me to my junior year. 3 years later, it took me to.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's different in how fast they pick it up.
And now you're vegan, right?
I am.
Holy fuck! I would have jumped off a building if I had it. I love all that shit. Like, you got to make your own food for that shit.
I mean, mostly. I mean, there's a lot of restaurants now where I can find options. Some restaurants, I guess I'm eating, a basic house salad and some French fries, which But other restaurants have stuff. So you're like,
yeah.
You need the tuna, and and all the stuff,
SpaghettiOs.
Yeah, SpaghettiOs. Oh, goodness.
Little Debbie cakes.
Yeah, you and your little Debbie cakes,
No wonder I feel like I'm having headaches and shit all the time, and you're like, Joe, look at how you're eating.
So, how long have you known that you wanted to do stuff like this?
Like just a podcast or filmmaking in general?
Podcast, filming.
That's a good question. I appreciate you asking me the first question. You haven't asked me one.
I figured I'd chime in, at least once.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No, it started really in high school. I was really involved in a lot of the media. You know how in high school sometimes they do like the media room where you get to get the television and shit throughout the whole high school.
Yeah.
I was very involved with that, and fucking the teacher was having an absolute breakdown in the class because no one was listening. I was like the one out of like 20 kids in the class that actually cared about doing the work. I really enjoyed that, and then it kind of, after I get out, I kind of, dwelled into a little bit of making independent films, and that's kind of when I got you involved, and I'm kind of taking a break from films for a while, and I kind of want to start a series like this podcast because I want to do a podcast for a very long time. And I thought it was a pretty cool idea. And a lot of people on YouTube, you guys may not know who these guests are and stuff like that. But I think the overall message, I think people watching this are just informative, make you laugh and shit, and an all around good time.
Yeah.
And I applaud you because you've dealt with a lot of, I always ask you for advice on shit, which you just so gracefully, a lot of times you got to repeat it, the same exact shit all the time.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Sometimes people never learn,
Yeah.
What do you think is the most challenging thing, me being your best friend? Not to kind of look down upon myself, but what would you think is the most challenging?
I don't know. I mean,
you're like probably just hearing from you in general. I don't like talking to you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna bounce. Thanks for having me. I'm gonna,
Well, in all honesty, the only reason I had you on the show is because I know you don't have a lot of friends, and I feel bad for you. So okay. I feel like
well, that's the same thing for you. I'm your only friend, so I don't know who else is gonna be on this podcast. No.
You're a fucking asshole, man.
No, I mean, well. You want particular, in terms of filmmaking, you want your particular shots tedious and meticulous, and
Right, but me having you do the same shit over, then we look at that and it's like, okay, I see why you did that over again, because now it looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but sometimes, we do it once and then we keep doing that throughout the evening and the night. Because let's be real here, we mostly film at night,
It's like, what, Joe? Why do you schedule these film shoots to do it at night?
But no, I mean that you know, you got to have a level of patience at least to do that. So, you know, that seems to work well, because I've seemed to be able to be pretty patient.
And like a lot of people don't understand how much work goes into making a film, even independent. You agree?
Yeah. So after the Hired Hitman, I really.
When did we shoot that? That was 2019, right?
2018, I think.
No, it was 2019.
Was
We
it
shot
2019?
We shot it in 2019.
2019.
Then we had the film premiere for it in August of 2019.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So through that film, I
feel like you got a better understanding.
Yeah.
Because that film there was a bigger scope to that.
Yeah. So yeah, I got a better understanding on how the whole process works, and you know, it's a complicated process. A lot
of people gotta have a lot of patience for that. You know.
Yeah. Just so happens I do, I guess. You
know. You gotta have a lot of patience. You're dealing with me all the time. You know.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, you know, because obviously this episode is just a whole bunch of random shit. What's like the most, like, other than working with me, the most tedious shit you've ever kind of dealt with? You know, for example, just anything in general. You know, going through, anything in general, like that really annoys you out of life.
I mean, well, school, you know, college can, you know, learning new stuff can always be kind of tedious and a little rough at first. You know, some things have a bigger learning curve than other things, and that can be frustrating at times. But, you know, I've always had such a high curiosity to learn new things that I eventually got over that. You know?
And you read a lot?
Yeah.
Are you reading anything currently?
I
mean, we went to Target the other day, and you got like a book by Jane Goodall. You told me you didn't start it yet.
I haven't started that. I started that Stephen King book, Fairy Tale. You know, I just briefly started that.
What's that about?
He does this really weird thing
Stephen King?
In the beginning, yeah. He starts talking about this stuff, but you don't really know the context between it all. So It's like he's like opening the door, if you will, but you know, you don't really know how everything comes together. So, you know, it's almost like you're left a little open, you know, a little mysterious. And so I'll have to read more to figure out how everything comes together.
But even just in general as well, like, I feel like the whole world is just fucked currently.
Yeah.
You know?
There's always a lot of problems.
Like the pandemic, that was crazy. You know, me and you have never dealt with anything like that in our lives, you know?
We shot Goodman in the pandemic.
Yeah, we shot that film, and you know, we had to wear masks and shit.
Yeah.
And here we are fighting and cracking your head over the head, and it's like, well, when do I take my mask off? You know?
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, making sure do you feel sick? You know. But we actually went through the whole process with nobody getting it, so you know, went pretty well.
Speaking of things being fucked, I feel like nowadays, like, me and you are considered millennials, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we're just on that cusp.
Yeah. It's like, for example, you go through like McDonald's drive-thru, and you're like, okay, I want extra pickles on my cheeseburger, and it's like you pull up, all right, you know, whatever. Then you get home. That's the thing too. Is like, when I was younger, my father, you know, whatever. So we'd get home, you know, and he, like, the fries would be missing, and he'd be flipping the fuck out. He's like, I'm gonna fucking drive back there and wring their fucking necks. You know, I feel like that people don't know what they're doing nowadays. You know, and obviously we're a little bit closer probably to their age. I mean, me and you are pushing 30, but yeah, but might as well pack it. You know, like
30. Holy cow! You know,
it's rough to even say that.
It is a little crazy, you know. I mean, we're still young. Don't get me wrong, but 30. Oh man, the big 3-0, man. We're getting up there. Actual adults.
I remember when we didn't even have a care in the world when we were younger, you know?
Yeah. I used to not sleep. Used to go to high school, come home, play Call of Duty all night, do it all over again.
What, you didn't sleep at all?
No, maybe a couple hours. You know, and then maybe I'd sleep in homeroom, maybe study hall. Take a 20-minute nap in study hall. So you're taking a break from films, huh?
Yeah. See how this podcast works and see how that goes.
Yeah. Round 2, huh?
Not even gonna know if I'm talking to you. You know,
yeah. Better slow it down a little bit now.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
Oh, that's just a sparkling water. You know, it's raspberry lime flavor.
You're fucked up. I'm pounding 2 Bud Lights and you're drinking sparkling watermelon fucking flavored sparkling water, dude. This vegan shit. I can't deal with the fucking vegan shit. You know, what do you think was the most challenging thing for you kind of growing up? Like, just one of the biggest hardships? Other than dealing with me. You're like, no, that's it. That's probably the biggest one.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess, you know, I was always like a shy person, you know, so I guess it took me a little while to develop friendships, but that wasn't too much of it was a little bit of a hardship, but nothing too crazy.
You got any cool facts about animals you can share with the audience? Just anything in general?
Any random stuff. Yeah.
What are the deal? What's the deal with praying mantises? Do they fuck at all, or like do they? I mean, how do they?
They are an animal, so they will do that.
but don't they kill each other?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the males will, you know, can assert some sort of dominance. You know, if one gets into another's territory, you know.
Like what will they do? Like kind of elaborate what the praying mantis's reaction would be. Like, get the fuck out of here, or what will happen?
Yeah, I mean, we can't speak praying mantis, but you know, they're probably screaming at each other. You know, hey, what the fuck you doing on my property? Get the fuck out of here! You know, some young blood trying to take the old guy's turf. You know,
the praying mantis is walking with a cane and shit, going to get his mail and shit. The kid's walking up.
Yeah.
But they do they kill themselves or no?
I believe they may fight to the death.
What's the animal that like they end up biting their heads off or something?
I don't know.
It's not humans, are they?
I mean,
probably if you're on some, you know,
PCP and shit. Huh? Bath salts or whatever the hell they call them.
Oh, fuck.
Math or whatever, you know?
Oh, fuck. So back to the original animal facts. What kind of cool facts can you kind of share?
A couple cool facts about bees.
Oh, okay.
Bumblebees will actually bite certain parts of the plant to kind of give it a flight response, so that it'll shoot up nutrients like pollen and nectar into the flower. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And honeybees will do a little wiggle dance to signal.
Like, are they doing it to Staying Alive by the Bee Gees?
And it's probably playing in their hive. You know? They probably got a live band.
Okay, yeah, like also like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, what do you think the honeybees like dance to and shit in the hive?
Yeah, they're probably the whole soundtrack of that band. You know, their best albums. You know, their greatest hits. No, but they'll do like a wiggle dance to indicate to the other bees in the hive where a particular flower is, and it's based on.
So in a sense, they'll genuinely walk up to him and be like, "Hey, yo, Marcus."
Well, they'll start doing a little dance, and based on the angles of how they dance, and it all is based on the angle of the sun, where the flower is to the sun and to the hive. So it's like a triangulation of coordination, really.
I literally know nothing about what you just said.
Yeah, you're like,
So you got any, cool shit coming up? Like with just, your life, or, I mean, you got a girlfriend now,
I do. Yeah.
So how's that going?
Pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
Another kind of experience in life that you go through, I guess.
What advice can you give about relationships to the audience as well?
Well, like, I'm patient with you. You got to be patient, Any kind of relationship.
With women in general, be patient.
You got to be patient, You really got to be patient.
Never talk back to them.
Kill them with kindness.
Kill them with kindness.
Kill them with kindness, yeah.
Never talk back to them at all,
What's the point? They're going to win anyway.
That's awesome. So, what else, you got going on right now? Just working and shit?
Yeah, working odd end jobs and trying to really learn how to play the guitar,
How's that going?
So, I mean, it's kind of weird how this happened in my life, but basically throughout high school and all my, academic, college and high school.
Sure.
I was always so focused on science and math and, all this stuff. But as I got out of high school, I just drifted toward the arts, I mean, it obviously influenced because of you with filmmaking, but, I've done a little photography here and there.
Not as good as me, obviously, but...
Yeah, I guess I won't go too far and say that. But
well, yeah, you can leave off the show then.
Yeah, okay, I'll leave. I dabble into drawing and painting and stuff like that, so I'm always trying new hobbies.
I heard through a little birdie, through the grapevine, that you're the best air guitar player in the world.
Oh yeah, I'm actually very good at that.
Are you really?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? Can I put you on the spot for a minute? And can we do a little air guitar?
You want to do a little air guitar?
Yeah,
right now?
yeah. Obviously, one of your favorite bands of all time is Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
And you got me into Ozzy Osbourne. He actually has a new album out. Pretty good album.
Incredible.
Very good album.
Yeah. Very good.
So, you don't mind doing a little air guitar real quick? Showing the audience.
Put a little bit in the show,
So if you want, I'd like you to kind of look into the camera a little bit here. Maybe we can, move the mic just a tad bit. If you want to kind of just, kind of angle yourself here a little bit so the audience can see. But I'm going to play Paranoid a little bit, the opening riff, and then you can kind of showcase a little bit how good you are with Paranoid or whatever. So whenever you're ready, just, take it away.
All right, let's go.
And why don't you show the audience a little bit of what you can do as far as air guitar, buddy?
All right.
Incredible, dude. Incredible. All right, man. That's incredible, dude. That's awesome, buddy. How do you start doing that shit? Like, how did you kind of figure out you really excel at air guitar? I feel like it came about me and you.
Well,
like, just...
Actually, it goes way back to my childhood.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain a little bit.
So I used to have this guitar, but I wasn't really, I didn't know how to play. I was really young, like, 6, 7, 8 years old or whatever, and I had this electric guitar, I think it was like a Fender, or and I would kind of just, I would have it strapped onto me, and I would kind of just, you know, like pretend like I'm playing it,
Oh,
you know, and like
okay,
do my
sure.
hair and stuff like that, and I'd have music playing in the background. So, I always liked rock and roll music, you know, so I just got into that vibe, and I don't know, I always wanted to play guitar, so, you know, I guess I just enjoy doing it.
Yeah. Music has been a big influence on your life, you know? Other than Black Sabbath, what's one of your favorite bands?
Yeah, so I like I mostly like all the hard and heavy metal stuff. But I like a lot of different music.
You really like John Lennon.
Yeah.
Incredible musician.
I love John Lennon, the Beatles, Paul McCartney.
You know, when your hair was long, you used to look like John Lennon.
Yeah. I even had the circular glasses like him and everything. But no, his music is incredible. The Beatles, Black Sabbath, Metallica, anything from Ozzy Osbourne in his solo career, Led Zeppelin, Motley Crue, Def Leppard.
I mean, me and you, a couple weeks ago, we saw Metallica.
No, incredible. Yeah.
I've never experienced anything like that in my life.
Down in the pit, man. In the
yeah,
mosh pit.
Dude. What song do they open with?
Whiplash.
And then, so, like, me and you are in the pit, we're sitting there, and I'll never forget, I've never experienced anything, it's not funny, I've never experienced anything like this in my life, dude.
I was not good at notifying you
right,
that this shit was gonna happen.
You know, as soon as they start, 10 seconds into Whiplash, everyone starts
whiplashing.
Exactly. I couldn't breathe at all.
Yeah.
You know, they're pushing us to the front.
Yeah.
You know, here.
They had to get the mosh pit going. You know.
Yeah, James Hetfield. It's like I'm staring under him. You know.
Yeah, we were close, man.
And
we were close.
you know, and I feel like at both, me and you were scared, but then we got into it.
Yeah.
You know, you're sitting there like, you know, and it was a really good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Good concert. Yeah, I don't know. You know, heavy metal music. A lot of people are like, oh, you know, why the hell do you listen to that stuff? You know,
Yeah.
It's so crazy. But whenever I had so much like sadness or anger in life, I just throw that on, and it just,
right.
For whatever reason, it soothed me down. You know, so.
I mean, that's kind of how me and you differ, right? Like you're big into meditation, eating properly, you know, all that shit. And
yeah, you're not. To each their own, I guess.
Yeah. You know, you're eating a salad, you know, and then I'm cracking open a can of Chef Boyardee raviolis, you know.
Yeah.
It's good that you kind of have those cool coping mechanisms, and you know, you kind of learn, you know, kind of know how to do all the right shit, you know.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add before we jump into the last topic for the show, for the episode?
I know you're taking a break from your filming here, but you got any teasers for what's to come next in that area, or you gonna have some sort of announcement, you know, later on?
No, I mean, it's always been action films,
Yeah.
you know, mafia films, and
which were, you know,
yeah,
incredible.
Yeah. And so I think me and you, you know, I guess we'll just announce, me and you kind of came up with this idea, we're going to write a horror film, a detective story. You know, like Saw, for example, one of the best films ever made.
Yeah.
You know, I love those films, and I remember, you know, a year ago we sat and watched all of them, and you know, you get into them. You know, a lot of people stop watching the Saw movies after the third one. Yeah. It gets old. But what's cool about the Saw franchise is that, like, it's a continuous story with each characters. Yeah. You know? And so I think me and you are going to kind of take inspiration. And, you know, the goal here is we're going to write a horror detective story. And then I think the goal is me, you, my friend, one of my other best friends, Dan, we're going to kind of sit down and work on the script. And then I think the goal is to start filming next year. Mm-hmm. Between me and you. But, you know, me and you originally said we're going to sit down, we're going to watch Saw, you know, Silence of the Lambs, 7 with Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman. We're going to kind of get inspiration from those. And then you kind of take, you know, what's really great about those and why those films worked, and then we're going to kind of implement that into the script, and I think that that's going to be really cool for us to do. So I'm looking forward to that.
That should be good.
It's going to be cool to dabble into a genre we've never done before, and I look forward to writing that script with you.
Yeah, and it's something that kind of genre we're both interested in, in those movies, and so.
Halloween, you're a huge Halloween fan.
I'm obsessed. I don't know. It's such a cool series, and the original one's just a classic in 1978. It's just a really cool.
I know there's some times where me and you will drive around. You'll pick me up and we'll listen to the Halloween soundtrack.
Yeah, it'll be like July 22nd.
Yeah. And then we'll come back. You'll drop me off at like 8, 9 at night. And there's these bushes by my apartment, and every time, because we've done it a few times.
Yeah.
We've listened to it a few times, and then the same thing kind of happens. You'll drop me off, and we'll be sitting there in the car talking a little bit, and then we'll be parked. Because the bushes are all the way over there, but we'll be looking, and I'll say to you, dude, what if Michael Myers popped out right now?
Yeah. Well, it's like in the first one, when Laurie's walking with her friends down the sidewalk, and he pops out of the bushes, and he just stands there. And then Laurie's looking at him, and then he goes back, and
you just see him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Halloween 4 and 5, those are good.
Those are classics.
With the little girl and shit.
Yeah.
Jamie was her name, I think.
Yeah. Jamie. Yeah.
And what's the deal with everybody always decides to transfer Michael Myers from the hospital the day before Halloween?
Yeah. Bad idea.
It's like the doctors are always like sitting at the table, and they're like, it's like someone in the back raises their hand, and then the doctor's like, "That's a great idea. Let's do that."
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. He's gonna escape anyways, So I guess it don't matter when.
Yeah. Fair enough point. So this is the part of the show where I have decided that at the ending of each episode, I pick a random movie myself to chat about with the guest of the show, and I think what worked good with me and you, or I feel like the biggest movie me and you can relate to, that's one of our favorite movies of all time, is Goodfellas.
Absolute classic.
A phenomenal film.
Yeah.
And if anyone's watching this podcast and they haven't seen Goodfellas, you might as well turn the YouTube off and just go to bed, because that's,
or go watch it.
Yeah. So that movie as a whole, made in the 90s, we weren't even born yet, but
it's like 5 years before. Yeah, it came out in 1990.
Yeah.
I was born in 95. You were right around there.
Yeah.
And so 6 years before we're born,
And then who knew? I feel like Goodfellas is one of those timeless classics.
Yeah, it really is.
It
really is.
Every time it's on television, you gotta just pause and watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderfully done. Spans 30 years in the mafia?
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
What is your favorite scene from Goodfellas?
Oh, there's a lot of good scenes. I don't know if I can pick one favorite scene, but I always just thought it was so talented that Paulie, the boss, could, they're sitting there in jail, which, by the way, they're not even going to jail.
Yeah.
They're not even, Italians go to jail.
Yeah. They're sitting there cutting the garlic and shit.
I thought that was so talented. He's using a, razor blade and just thinly, cutting that garlic, man.
I never cared for that scene in the movie.
How come?
I don't know. It's a little bit slower. It's like a part of the movie where he kind of goes away.
Yeah.
And then,
But it's an interesting dynamic, because,
it shows like that.
Other people go to jail. It's terrible. But look at them. They got their own bed. They got their own room. It's like a little apartment, They're cooking sauce, cooking up some steaks and having wine and shit, and it's crazy. I thought that was nuts.
I think my favorite scene in the movie is where everyone starts getting whacked. and
Yeah.
Layla by Eric Clapton is playing.
Yeah, it's an incredible.
Zooms in on Carbone in the meat truck.
Yeah, beautiful shot. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's some really good scenes in there. Joe Pesci, you know, how am I funny? You know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a classic scene.
And then there's the scene in the movie where they're all sitting at the dinner table.
Yeah.
With his mother. Joe Pesci's like, I gotta borrow this knife, Mom. And she's like, oh, bring it back.
Yeah.
And then she pulls out that painting.
Yeah.
What was that a painting of again?
Oh yeah, hold on. Let me see.
Oh, you brought something?
I do. Yeah. There's the painting. There it is.
You have the actual one, dude.
There it is.
That she's looking at.
This is it here.
What does Joe Pesci say during that line?
Well, he's looking at it. He thought it was kind of funny or something. He goes, look at this. This dog's looking this way, this dog's looking the other way, and this guy's like, what do you want from me, you know?
And then he's like,
that was funny.
Then he's like, that guy reminds me of someone I know.
Yeah,
it's the dude in the back of the car.
Yeah, the guy that, you know, what's his name?
Billy Batts.
Billy Batts, yeah, Billy
yeah,
Batts. I
yeah.
got Billy Batts in the back of the car, yeah. Yeah, this would be Billy Batts if he grew up here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for. Can I have that or no?
This is we hang it up at my place, you know.
Yeah. You know, Ray Liotta, dude, rest in peace. You know, he died this year.
It's crap. It's 2022. You know, all these guys, all these actors.
And then Paulie Walnuts from The Sopranos, he passed.
Yeah, he's got a short bits in The Goodfellas too, right? You know, couple in the beginning there. You know. Yeah, The Sopranos, man, greatest show of all time. You know?
I haven't watched it all the way through. I'm nuts.
Yeah, I think you may as well turn this podcast off and go do that. But yeah, I don't know. We, well, you know, both of us being half Italian, I think we've just been so drawn to and interested in these mafia films and TV shows that, you know,
it's a cool world because we weren't alive during that time, you know?
Right? Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy fucked up world, but it's also a huge thrill, you know. It's like to have that.
And real quick before you wrap, I know you were telling me the one time about your grandfather. Can you kind of touch a little bit upon that real quick before we end the episode?
Well, I won't go into too much detail, but you know, I mean, you know, let's just say, you know, I mean, Goodfellas and The Sopranos isn't, you know, too much a little far fetched.
Yeah.
You know,
you don't want to say anything in case someone's watching. You know what I mean? So I just want to say I appreciate you stopping by on the show. It was a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I
mean, the only reason I invited you on the show, obviously, is because I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
I know you don't probably have a lot going on in your life.
Well, you know, same to you. You know, I felt bad. You know, you're probably not going to do nothing besides drink Bud Light all night. So I figured we could sit here and talk. You know.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll have you back on though. A few months, you know.
Yeah. I'll probably come on again.
A year from now when you finally decide to hit me up again. But yeah, man, I appreciate you popping by.
This was fun.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay. Goodbye.
Okay. Goodbye.
Okay. Goodbye. All right, I love you, buddy. Thanks for popping by.
All right.
All right.